partner Sherlock at Wings of Hope Equitherapy, and it's going to get pretty cold tonight. So we are going to throw some blankets on some of these guys because it's going to get into the 20s. And you might wonder how we measure a horse for a blanket. Well, the horse is measured from the middle of his chest to the middle of his backside. Now, you can use a regular measuring tape like this one, but it makes all this crackling noise. And, well, he's a therapy horse, so it doesn't bother him, but your horses at home may not like that. So I found the best way to measure a horse is to get a lunge line and use that to measure, and then measure the lunge line on the ground afterwards. So it's helpful if you have two people, but I'm here by myself, so it's just me. So take the end of the lunge line and put it right in the center of your horse's chest. Make sure the lunge line goes over the point of the shoulder and continues all the way around. And make sure it goes over the point of the buttocks. And depending on the manufacturer, they may have you measured to the end of the buttocks, or they may have you measured to the end of the tail, or to the middle of the tail. I'm going to go to the middle of the tail. So Sherlock is this long. I'm going to tie a little knot in this so that I know where to measure to. All right, and now I'm going to get my measuring tape and give that a measure. And we can see that Sherlock is 80 inches long. Blankets come normally in even number sizes. It usually goes 76, 78, and then it jumps to 81 for some strange reason, and then from there to 84, again, depending on the manufacturer. Sherlock, to give him a little wiggle room, he has an 81. So I'm going to pick this up and get it out of the way and show you Sherlock's blanket. Now Sherlock has a turnout blanket, which is waterproof, and it's a medium weight. When you have a bunch of horses like us and we only blanket when it gets really cold out, our horses have really nice thick coats, and they're used to being outside when it's real chilly out. So we stick with a medium weight and not a heavy weight for our horses. Also, it just makes it a little bit easier if you're not at Wings of Hope, but you're at a boarding facility or have horses yourself. If you just want to have one blanket, get a waterproof turnout blanket that's a medium weight. If you want to mess with putting blankets on and off, you can get a lightweight, a medium weight, a heavy weight. There are stable blankets that are not waterproof. Turnout blankets are waterproof. We always recommend getting the turnout ones, which are waterproof. They can be used indoor and out. So here's Sherlock's blanket. I'm going to show it to him so he doesn't think that I'm throwing a giant poncho over his head. Let him take a look at it. Yeah, he's just trying to grab it. He did grab it. Let go. Now, just like a saddle, I'm going to ease it over his back. And you can see that it has a little fleecy fuzz cover here over his crest for added comfort. This is what's called a shoulder gusset. It's for when he moves. It gives his shoulder some freedom to move. Has a nice little tail flap. Keep his little hiney nice and warm. And come around on this side, and I'll show you how it fastens. So the first thing I'm going to do is fasten the front. You can come around the front here. A lot of these blankets will have a Velcro here in front. This particular one doesn't, but if it does, fasten the Velcro first, and then you can fasten the buckles. Some blankets have snaps instead of buckles. If they do have snaps, be sure to turn the snap to the inside so your horse doesn't get the snap caught on a fence, scratching an itch. So we'll buckle that buckle. Runs through there. Here's the other buckle. All right. Now, these are called crisscross belly straps. So the strap, grab the strap from the back, and I'm going to bring it here to the front. Just goes in just like so, and I have about 6-inch clearance between the strap and his belly, giving the blanket a little bit of room to move around. All right, and then lastly we have the leg straps. And I am standing behind Sherlock, but he knows I'm here. I've touched his behind and I'm talking, so he's very well aware that I'm standing here. All right, leg strap comes around. Now this leg strap is pretty long. You don't want it down below their hocks. So I'm just gonna tighten it up here. Maybe, it's a little tight. I'm gonna do my best to tighten it up here. There it goes. All right. There we go, that's much better. So you want it just above their hocks. And here's the opposite one. And you want to run these, you can either run them to opposite legs, or what I like to do is I like to crisscross them one through the other. And then that snaps there. Tighten this one up. And what this does is this prevents, well, I'll tighten it later off of camera. This prevents the blanket from sliding from side to side as much, or if Sherlock puts his head down to graze and starts backing up, the blanket won't fall off, it'll hold it on. But really it keeps it stable from sliding side to side. So, this is Mr. Sherlock in his blanket, winter ready. We're ready for the 20-degree weather. Thanks for watching. Hi, we're here at Wings of Hope Equitherapy, and we are getting ready for a cold night tonight. Do we blanket our horses? And if we do, when do we blanket our horses? Excellent question. It depends on a lot of things. Our horses live outside 24/7. They only come inside to eat and to wait for their turn to participate in a riding lesson. You can see behind Sunny we have really nice big lean-to shelters that block from the north, east, and west winds for the horses to go in if the wind gets strong or if it is raining, or even in the summer for shade. That helps a lot when it comes to the decision to blanket. Whether or not we blanket depends on a lot of factors unique to each individual horse. It depends on their age, their condition, their body score, which means how many calories they would expend keeping warm at night. It depends on the thickness of their coats, and it depends on if it is raining or not, and what the temperature is when it is raining. We're going to come up to Nugget and take a look at his coat. He's got a super thick coat, and he's super dirty, but you know, we always say a dirty horse is a happy horse. I'm going to brush off some mud here. So you can see here that Nugget has a really thick coat. This thick coat is a beautiful, beautiful insulating mechanism. The bottom layer of this coat is downy, soft hair. The very top of it is slicker. That top slick layer acts as a great moisture repellent and warmth retainer. So it's like wearing a windbreaker almost over you. A windbreaker will keep you mostly dry and it will keep the wind out of you. The soft hair that is near Nugget's body acts as an insulating layer. So it would be like if you're wearing a windbreaker with a fleece insulator underneath it. You'll see pictures of horses in the snow, and the snow is on the horse. It has not melted. This is because the horse's body is so well insulated that its body heat is not escaping to melt the snow. Now Nugget here has a very good body condition. He has lots of calories to spare if he needed to burn any to keep warm, and he's got a super thick coat. Nugget probably would not get blanketed unless it was cold and very rainy. Heavy rain will penetrate that layer of fur and it could get down to his skin. Sunny over here, he still is not thin at all, but he doesn't have as many calories to spare that Nugget does. His coat's pretty good, but it's not as thick as Nugget's. So on a cold night, on an exceptionally cold night, even if it's not raining, Sunny would probably get blanketed. One more thing to keep in mind when deciding if you should blanket your horse or not is how much access to hay and forage they have. If you feed them a little bit of extra hay on a cold night, they will eat that extra hay and burn it, much like a furnace burns fuel. The extra calories will keep them warm at night. Some horses spend their entire lives blanketed. Other horses never are blanketed at all their entire life. Either is completely fine. It completely depends on the amenities that the horse's human decides to provide to them. As long as they have adequate shelter, warmth, and food, they do not need a blanket. As a final note, be sure that you do not put your blanket on your horse if it is too warm outside. Your horse could get overheated and sweat, making their fur wet under the blanket. When the temperature does get cold later on, your horse will be wet with no way to dry. So make sure that you stick your hand under that blanket and make sure your horse is not too toasty. Hi, JJ. Thanks for watching.